Hello everybody, this is Kay and welcome to my channel, Junking with Gigi. Today I am going to work on my 1,000 subscriber giveaway journal. This is the fourth and hopefully the final video where I complete this journal for when I reach 1,000 subscribers. So if you're interested in watching the other 3 videos, I will link those below if you want to see me create this journal. If you want to watch the process from beginning to end, I'll link those videos below. But today what I'm going to do is sew in my signatures and do the final decorating and adding of ephemera to this lovely Remember journal for my giveaway. Since I have 3 signatures, I'm going to have to use a template to sew these in so as to get them nice and even. So what I'm going to do here, set those aside for a moment, is I've cut a piece of paper, and this is just a scrap of paper, just exactly to the size of the spine, which is 1 1/4 by 8 3/4. So this is my template, and the way I'm going to use this is I'm going to fold it in half. And then I'm going to fold on the ends over about an inch or so, 3/4 of an inch to an inch, like so. And then I'm going to fold it lengthwise. Can't see very well without sticking my head under the camera. Get those edges nice and even. Okay, I had to remind myself how to make my template. So after that, those initial folds, this way and this way, I opened it back up and I folded it in half lengthwise and made a crease. And then I folded each long end into the middle to make 2 more creases. So I have 3 signatures to sew in. So what this does is it gives me, at every intersection of the creases is where I'm going to make my holes for my signatures. So I'm going to put a dot at each one of those. And then I'm also going to write top at the top so that I use the same end for the top of the journal every time. So I'm going to write top up here. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is put the holes in the journal spine. So I'm going to get my template lined up perfectly in that spine, the way it should be. And get it centered there in that spine space. And I'm going to use a couple of clips here to hold it in place. I'm going to put one at the top. Okay, I've got a piece of foam here. I'm going to just stick under there. And I've got my pokey tool, and I'm just going to poke my 9 holes for my signatures. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the same template, and I'm going to use this first row of holes for my first signature, the middle for my second, and the third for my third, obviously. So I'm going to take my first signature, which is this one right here, and I'm going to go through first of all and make sure I have my pages positioned where I want them, because some of them are different heights, and sometimes I want them close to the top, sometimes I want them at the bottom. Most of the time, I think, I just kind of put them right in the middle. I'm going to just go through here and make sure all of those are positioned correctly. Have them where I want them. I'm going to take a couple of, I'm going to make sure it's all tucked in nice and tightly in that spine crease. And I'm going to take a couple of these binder clips and just clip on each side on one half, just to hold all those papers in place for me. Okay, I'm going to put the cover aside for a moment. So my 3 signatures have some slight variations in their height. So rather than lining the top up with the top like I did on the cover, I'm going to center it as best I can, and I'm just going to kind of eyeball this. I'm going to put the template as close to the center of the signature as I can. I'm going to make sure it's tucked into that crease real nicely, and then I'm going to get my pokey tool back out, and I'm going to go in, hope you can see where those sets of holes are, and poke my holes through my signatures. So you can see that one coming out. Hold my template in place, go down to that bottom hole. You just got to be real careful you don't poke a hole through your fingers. I'm going to go ahead and leave my pokey tool in that 3rd hole for now while I get my thread ready, just to kind of hold it in place a little bit more. And I'm going to use some black embroidery thread. I thought this would look nice with, you know, this is going to show on the spine, outside of the spines, and I've got black thread that I used here, so I just thought that would go. And I've used black thread throughout as well. So I'm going to go 1, 2 and a half, and I usually do actually more than like 2 2/3, just to make sure I've got enough thread. I'm gonna grab my little pair of scissors. Okay. Get my needle threaded. And if I didn't mention this before, I'm using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. That's probably pretty obvious. And I have described how to do that in previous videos. And there's all kinds of videos out on YouTube, tutorials on how to do the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. So that's what I'm going to use today. So first thing I'm going to do is pull out my pokey tool and my template, but it's still being held in place. And I'm going to go through that middle hole first. I'm going to leave about a 2-3 inch tail inside. And then I'm going to go through the middle hole of that first row on my spine. Okay, this gets a little awkward sometimes. Just trying to hold everything in place and line up the holes. Okay, so I've got that through the cover, through the signature, and now we're going to go back through the cover. You know what? I think I'm going to take this dangly off for now just to keep it out of the way while I'm working on this. Okay, so now I'm going to go back through, I'm going to go through this first hole at the top in my cover. Oh, look what I did. I pulled the whole thing through. Okay, let me start over on that. I put a clip on my thread so I wouldn't do that again. Okay, so Okay. Sometimes I really struggle with this part of journal making. The problem I had there was I pierced my first thread when I brought my second one through, so I had to detangle that mess. But I got that done. I'm gonna pull up tight on both sides, making sure my loose ends are on either side of that middle thread. Make sure it's nice and tight. I'm gonna, before I tie it, make sure it's good and tight on the outside. And then for this, I think I'm just gonna do a square knot, which is left over right and right over left, or vice versa, just so you go the opposite way the second time. Okay, first signature in, and I am going to do this other two signatures the same way using the 3-hole pamphlet stitch. And I'm gonna do that off camera. I feel like it's really hard for me to do this on camera because I don't want to stick my head under the camera and I'm flipping it and twisting it and turning it and all that, so it's just kind of a hard thing for me to do on camera. So I will do those off camera and be right back. All right, I got all 3 signatures sewn in successfully, not without a little bit of struggle, but it's done. And now we're going to continue on with the final decorating, and I'm going to dive into my stash and gather up tags and journal cards and other fun stuff to put in here. This very first page of this first signature, it was just a little too plain for me. This was some plain white napkin that I decoupaged onto just some baking paper, and it looks really cool, but it's a little bit too plain. So what I want to do here is I want to grab out my vintage photo. Okay, sorry about that. Sometimes I start recording and I don't have my stuff out and ready, but I kind of want to take down the brightness of this white napkin here. So I'm just going to take my vintage photo Distress Oxide and just kind of grunge this up a little. I found this pretty bee and angel kind of image with the words, "Don't be afraid to spread your wings over the world." Got this out of a magazine, and I'm going to use just a piece of packaging paper in the background as a mat, and I'm going to put that on this page just to dress it up a little bit. It was kind of plain. So I'm going to grab out some glue here. I think I'll use I've been using this Aleene's Tacky Glue lately, and I like it. It gives me a few extra seconds of manipulation time before it kind of sets, so I can move things around a little bit more. I still love my art glitter glue, but this is a little bit more flexible, and it's in this type of a bottle where it stands upside down, so it's kind of always ready. You don't have to turn it over and wait for the glue to run down. So I'm just going to kind of center that on that, and I've torn these edges and inked around the edges of both of these pieces as well. So I'm going to put that there, and then I'm going to glue this on to that front page. This page was a very kind of fragile glassine bag, a very old one, and I kind of wanted to kind of shore up the edges a little bit so it didn't get wrinkled and damaged too much. So I pulled this piece of art paper out of a magazine, and I'm going to just put it over this edge and glue it down. So I'm going to open this up first and put a little bit of glue on the inside of both sides, because I want it to actually, now that I'm doing this, I'm rethinking what I'm doing. Maybe I I should just glue down one side and leave that, because this side that I just put the glue on is going to go inside the pocket, like so. And I have to work that down in there, so it's all the way to the edge. And then what I could do here is just glue the sides, these two edges, and have another little pocket there. I think I will do that. Let me dab up a little bit of glue here. And just put some on these two edges. This is another example of how sometimes when I'm working on journals, I figure out what I want to do as I go, rather than, you know, I start with the plan, but then the plan changes. And that's okay. Okay, so we have the open pocket of the bag on this side, and then on this side we have a little tuck spot. Okay, let's see what else. This was a pocket I had already added on, because I sewed it onto this page that I had already made. What else should we do here? I've got to find something to put in those belly bands. I've got another little, okay, so I guess my plan was to do the same thing on this side of the bag as well. So let me take that out. And I think, yeah, so I'll put glue all over this side, tuck it in, and then make another tuck spot just like I did on the other side. That. I'm hoping that that glue holds on this glassine paper. I'm going to give it a good bit of time to dry before I start messing with it and tucking stuff in there. But if for some reason it doesn't hold that well, I'll have to come up with another plan to kind of hold that in place. But I'll come back to that later. Okay. This was one of those Franken pages I had made in the previous video. I've got a pocket here. I'll have to find something for all of these pockets. So let me see what else I can do here. This is an envelope, that page that I had made. We're in the first signature still, and I have already tucked something into that pocket, a little journal card with a little piece of paper ruffle that I made on the top. I'll have to find something for these pockets, and another one of those for the other side of this envelope folio. And I'm gonna have to find some things to tuck into these 4 pockets, some little tidbits. I have a real pretty little cluster that I made here out of packaging paper, book page, scraps. This is a little applique flower, and I even did some hand stitching here. I think I want to put that on the inside of the back cover here, just as a little tuck spot. So I'm going to add glue to these 2 sides and do that. All right, I think I am done with this beauty. I don't know if I mentioned it before, But if you would like to be entered into the drawing for this giveaway journal, when I reach 1,000 subscribers, all you have to do is be a subscriber, like one of these videos having to do with the creation of this journal, and also make a comment on one of the videos. If you do those 3 things, you'll be entered into the drawing for this journal when I reach 1,000 subscribers. So please do that, and I think my subscriber count is in the 800s. Well, I know it is. This morning it was 860 something, so it's approaching the milestone of 1,000 subscribers, but I have finally completed this. I put my dangle back on here. I went through my stash and filled this beauty up with a lot of good fun stuff. So I'm just going to do a flip through for you real quick. I will probably speed this up a little bit so it doesn't make this video too long. If you want to watch it in slower motion, you can always make that adjustment in your settings on YouTube for your playback speed. So I'm gonna just do a final flip through. So as you can see here, things got quite a bit chunkier by adding in all that good stuff, but it still kind of smushes down, and of course once you put your closure on, that'll hold it together. So I'm super excited about reaching 1,000 subscribers and doing this giveaway. So please subscribe to my channel, like one of these videos, make a comment, and get entered. And when I reach 1,000 subscribers, I'll be doing a video for that drawing. So keep your eyes open for that video, hopefully coming up in the next month or two. And thank you so much for watching today. Have a blessed day.